backyard having a conversation with a cardinal while I'm looking for signs of bird migration. If you know me, it's no secret that I love birds. And people ask me all the time, well, how did you get into it? How can I get into it? Well, I've loved birds since I was a little kid. Heck, I even have one on my hat. And it's just something I just slowly picked up over time, because the more I started to learn about it, the more I learned there was to learn about birds. There's so much to know about our feathered friends, and I'm here to talk to you about ways that you can learn about birding yourself. All right, so the first things first. You know you like birds, cool. You want to learn a little bit more about them, great. What do you want to learn about them? Do you want to learn about what they sound like, what they look like, what they do, where they go? Oh, okay, well, there's a bit of a few questions there that we can dive into. But first of all, what you're going to want to do is to get a view of outside. Maybe a window, maybe a balcony. And those are the first two things that you can do. But the next things would probably be to go outside and to find yourself in a spot where there is lots of vegetation. Honestly, birds love plants. They love the bugs that love the plants and love the flowers in those plants, and then they eat the bugs, or perhaps nest in those trees or eat some of the pine cones, you name it. But what you're gonna want is some sort of plant life. Remember, all life needs plants. So find yourself outside towards some plants, and then what you're gonna wanna do is be still and listen. And will there always be birds there? No. Do you have to be patient? Yes. And in the meantime, you can think about ways of seeing them a bit easier. Okay, so you got yourself to a spot where you can at least see some birds with your eyes. Great. Do you have some binoculars kicking around the house? I mean, heck, I've got a few pairs. I've got a pair for my kids here that someone gave to me. You might have a pair that look a little bit like this, a little World War II style pair of binoculars. These were handed down to me from my grandfather and my uncle. Maybe you've got a spotting scope kicking around somewhere, or you've got a new age pair of binoculars. Amazing. These are great places to start. What you want to do when you first start out is you have a point that you're going to fix on. I'm going to say that fence post over there. I'm going to close my right eye, and with my left eye open, I'm going to focus using the middle toggle. Once that's clearly in focus, I'm going to close that left eye, and using a toggle that's right under this eye cup here, there's a spinny dial there. So I will look back on that same thing, left eye closed, right eye open, and I will spin that toggle until that same post is completely in focus. Then with both eyes open, I'm able to see everything clearly, and then I can use that same middle toggle here to focus on something really far away or really close. The other thing with these eye cups is I wear glasses now, but if I didn't, I would keep those things twisted upwards. But because I wear glasses, I twist these down, and I can use the glasses and the binoculars at the same time. And maybe you're seeing a black dot somewhere in there. Well, all you gotta do is just work on squeezing them closer together or opening them up a little bit farther. Final cool fact about binoculars. Let's say you find like something cool on the ground, a little insect or something like that, and you want to see it closer, flip them around the same way your kids probably use binoculars. Hold it in your hand and hold it close. It's like microscopic view. It's so cool. Binoculars are not cheap, so if you're lucky enough to be able to afford binoculars, great. If all you have is what's been donated to you, also great. Luckily, I've got some things here from Royal Botanical Gardens, and there's plenty of places to buy binoculars or spotting scopes, so just look to your local outdoor stores. And you're going to want to try a few things out, of course, but hey, if all you've got is all you've got, then use what you got. Now you've gotten yourself where you can see birds. You've got some optics where you can see them even closer without disturbing them. And now you want to start talking about what it is you're seeing. So you've got a bird, great. Now let's start thinking about some things. There's several things to consider. One thing, color. What color is the bird? What colors do you see, and where are you seeing the colors on the bird? Another thing could be size. How big is it? Is it really small? Is it bigger than a robin? Is it bigger than a crow? Another thing is behavior. What do you see it doing? Is it on the ground? Is it going face first down a tree? Is it flying by? How is it flying? Look at that behavior. That behavior can tell you something. And then also, what does it sound like? Is it calling? Is it singing? And these are the ways that can help us identify what birds you are seeing. So let's say that you want to let me know, Jackson, I found this really cool bird, or an uncle of yours, or an aunt, or a cousin, somebody. Talk to them about what you saw. Talk about the size. Talk about some colors. Talk about its behavior. Talk about where you found it. What types of vegetation were you around? Was it the sky? Was it a wetland? Talk about all those places, about where you encountered that bird. That will help someone try and identify it for you. And you could even try and take a picture of a bird through your binoculars. That's right. What you can do is take your phone, take your binoculars, hold your phone up to the binoculars, and try and take a photo through them. Heck, you can even do that with your spotting scope. Try and take a picture if you can. If not, submit it to the old memory bank, write it down, heck, even start a checklist, because there are many ways that you can document your sightings, and then that way you can track it year after year and see what you've seen in your backyard, in your local habitats, or like we like to call them, patches, and start to uncover what is around, because you might be surprised at how many birds you already know and who's choosing your neighborhood to call home. Okay, so you've seen a medium-sized brown and white bird, and you want to identify what it is. Another great step would be to crack open a field guide, and I happen to have a few here. So, Ontario Nature Guide, Birds of Ontario, sure, give them a look. A Kaufman's Guide to Birds. Stokes' Field Guide to Birds. Peterson's Field Guides, Advanced Birding. Not yet, maybe someday. Nest Eggs and Nestlings, sure, that's a good one to have. Ooh, Birds of Hamilton and Surrounding Area by the one and only Bob Curry and guests. That is a great one, but I think for this case, we're gonna want the Peterson Field Guide to Birds of Eastern and Central North America. So you've got your book, remember your bird, you start flipping through, and oh my goodness, you start to realize that there's a lot of brown and white birds. Heck, there's a lot of yellow birds. Heck, there's a lot of white birds. There's a lot of birds. There are a ton of birds. That is the beauty behind birds, is that there's so much to learn, so much to discover, so much to uncover. So you flip through the book and you think you found it great. Now what? Wasn't I just talking about iNaturalist? Have you heard of eBird? Yeah, these are two places that you can submit some bird sightings to in order to contribute to citizen science. Yes, you could be a citizen scientist by helping contribute the sightings that you have towards scientific organizations that are studying these things all around the globe. And last but not least, if you wanted to learn more about birds, there are plenty of opportunities to do so. Not only is it reaching out to friends and family who you know love birds, or other online entities that often ask for bird sightings. There's a few of those places too. And at Royal Botanical Gardens, I run something called Not Just a Birding Club, which has been going on for several years now, that we just kind of walk the trails and we just try and identify one bird at a time. Sometimes it can be tough when there are hundreds of birds around, but our goal is just to get out and to explore. For how do you know what's really around if you're not walking, listening, observing, slowing down, and paying attention? For half of nature is just observation. You don't have to know exactly what it is. It's just good to know that it is. So if you want to learn more, reach out to RBG. Check around your communities for some birding groups, or just go outside, listen and look for our feathered friends, and see what you hear. Until next time, Jackson Hudak, Royal Botanical Gardens. Be well!